Hello and welcome to another edition of Career Magic. My name is Nitin Kulkarni and on this channel I talk about little things that can make a big difference in our personal and professional lives. Now today's topic is talk it out or act it out, and I will unpack that topic very shortly. This is something that happens in our lives on a fairly regular basis, and as with many videos on this channel that I have done lately, this one involves emotions as well. So let us think about a situation to understand what I am talking about. Now, I am a workshop facilitator, and until recently, before the COVID pandemic, I used to do face-to-face workshops. Now I do, of course, lots of online workshops. But when I did face-to-face workshops, there would be a number of people, anywhere from 15 to 25 people in a room, and I would be working with them and facilitate some aspect of their learning. Now, when we are working in a group like that, it can be fairly disruptive if people are coming in and out after we start. So late coming can be a little bit of an irritant. Now assume that I'm running a session like this, and we start at 9:30 a.m. in the morning, and a person walks in at about 9:40, 9:45. Everyone else is in there and this person walks in late. There's stuff going on and it causes a little bit of a disruption, so that's okay. These things happen. I let it go. Then we take a break for coffee after about an hour and a half, and everyone goes out for coffee, and one of the ground rules we have laid down is that everyone is going to respect each other's time and show up on time after a break or first thing in the morning. And lo and behold, after this 15-minute break, we get started, and the same person who walked in late in the morning walks in 10 minutes late again. And so I'm starting to get a little bit irritated, but it's okay. I assume that they are going through some sort of an emergency, personal or professional, and so we get started, we get them back into our conversation, but I'm starting to get a little irritated. So I'm starting to pay attention to the others more than to this particular person. After lunch break, this person again walks in late, and now I'm quite mad. I'm really upset. That little irritation and frustration is starting to turn into anger. And I say nothing. I just, I start completely ignoring this person, because when I would run these workshops, what I tend to do is look at everyone, turn my gaze around, address everyone, talk to everyone, get everyone involved, and now I'm really starting to ignore this person. So I might address a person sitting right next to them on this side as well as that, or two people on their table, but not this person. Now guess what? We are very perceptive animals. We can sense what's going on, and what really happens is this person notices that I am ignoring him or her, and so he or she starts to get a little ticked off and sort of starts checking out. When they start checking out, it strengthens my opinion about them, that this person is not really interested, perhaps is a little irresponsible, so I ignore them even more. Or maybe I even snap at this person if they are looking at their phone or something, and it starts to go downhill, and this person again notices that, and next time after the next break comes even later, and it's really now snowballed into a situation where we don't really like each other, and it's also taking away from the experience of everyone else in the room. Now, the reason I explained this example is this sort of thing happens quite often. You must have seen it happen at home and in the workplace in other situations. But what is really going on here? What is going on here is that some part of their behavior causes a little bit of a negative emotion in me, and I start sort of acting out that emotion. I can't help it. It's there in my head. I start acting it out. I can't help ignoring them. It's really hard for me when I'm feeling this emotion to address this person and be really nice and fair to them. And then this person notices. This is called a downward spiral, because what is happening is there's a vicious circle, and this really is not helpful at all. We have these sorts of situations happen everywhere. At home, if you're married, have you ever received or dished out the silent treatment to your spouse or got it from them? Yes, we have. And often that is what happens. You don't like something your spouse has done, so instead of saying something because you think they might get ticked off, just ignore it. When we ignore it, we start to sort of act it out in ways that we cannot control. The spouse notices and does some things without saying anything, and then it starts to become a problem. These sorts of things can lead to temporary issues between people, and sometimes if they get serious or happen again and again, they can lead to much more serious issues between people. And this is what we are really doing, is acting out that emotion. This thing is explained really well now, really well in a book that I read. It's called Crucial Conversations, and the authors there talk about it in this language. You can, when you feel something like this, a strong negative emotion, you can either talk it out or act it out. You can't, there is no third option, because our brain, I have mentioned that in another one of my videos. Our brain has a limbic system, which is the seat of emotions, and then there is an upper bigger part called the neocortex, which is the seat of rationality. Now rationality tells us that I shouldn't do this, I should behave normally and then just let it go, otherwise this sort of thing is going to happen. But my emotional self, which by the way, the limbic system predates the neocortex by several million years. It's much more hardwired into our design, and it helps us with survival. That's what it has done over the years. And so emotions tend to take center stage whenever strong emotions arise in us, and that is why we cannot consciously avoid acting out the emotion. So what is the alternative? Well, there is an alternative, and this book that I just talked about talks about the alternative. Talk it out. Talking it out is the alternative. Now think about it. When this emotion arises inside you, this is a very nice sort of way of thinking about it. It's sitting inside you, going around and causing some turmoil. As long as it is staying in there without getting dealt with, it is going to cause all of these responses on our part, which is the acting it out type of response. Now, the way to deal with it, when we talk it out, talking it out is just letting it out. When you let it out of your system, it no longer creates these things inside you that force you to act in ways that are unhealthy. In emotional intelligence parlance, this is called emotional expression, and it's a very healthy thing. So the problem is that when these sorts of things happen to us, we are afraid that if I say something about their behavior, they are going to take offense, and it is going to cause a problem in the relationship, or going to cause a problem in whatever we are trying to do together. And that's why we don't speak up, and then inside this thing continues to act on us and causes all these unhealthy problems. Well, talking it out involves a technique called the I statement, and I have done another video on the I statement. So in a sense, this episode is an application of the I statement. So I'm not going to here get into the psychology of why the I statement works versus doing it in another way, but that's a very healthy way to talk it out for emotional expression and resolving these sorts of situations. Now the way you would do it, so let me just clarify this by talking about this example again, and then maybe talk about one more example to sort of solidify how this will work. So let's say in this example where the person shows up late after the first break, where I'm conducting this workshop, comes in late, starting to get a little irritated, but I let it go. I say, okay, give them the benefit of doubt. They may have had an issue. They come in late again the second time. I'm starting to get a little more irritated. Now what I do, instead of letting it fester, when we break for lunch, I ask this person that, hey, can you wait for a moment? I'd just like to have a quick word with you, talking it out. And now I bring the I statement into play. The way the I statement works is you talk objectively about the data you have observed, about the behavior you have observed. Don't talk about anything else. And use an I statement to express how you feel. So here, this is how I might go at it. And I might say, hey, how are you? Hope you're doing well. And then I say, I observed that you came in about 10 minutes late in the morning, and then you were late again after the break. Now, what that does is, because we are running this group session, what that does is I feel really frustrated with that kind of a situation if it repeats itself, because it breaks the flow of the session and prevents me from giving my best to all of you. So what I'd really like to do is understand what's going on and how we can make things better starting now. Now, this is an application of the I statement. I have let this team out. I have told them how I feel and what is making me feel that way without blaming them. So instead of that, if I had said, you are always late, problem. Yeah. So what I did was I talked about what happened. I talked about its impact on me and how I felt about it. And now this person can tell me what's going on. This person will probably, if I approach it like this, the problem will resolve itself. And now I have talked it out instead of acting it out. If I don't talk it out, I will act it out, and the result will be what I described at the beginning of this video. The same thing can happen in the office. Let's say you observe that you have a peer and you are sort of at the same level, and you observe that, and you have about the same capability, but you observe that your boss is frequently deputing them in his absence for his meetings, and also giving them some of the more challenging work that creates more visibility or involves important stakeholders. And this happens a few times and you're starting to get irritated. If you don't talk it out, you will act it out. How? You will start avoiding your boss. Probably you will start greeting them with less enthusiasm. You will probably be a little bit different around them. Now, if they feel badly about it and have this good sense to talk it out, maybe the whole thing will come out and things will resolve itself. But if they are in the same mode and they say, okay, this person doesn't seem to like me, so let me ignore them, they will do more of the things that feed this negative emotion in you, which will make you act it out even more. That downward spiral will eventually lead to a breakdown of the relationship, or you wanting to move out of this group or out of the company altogether. But ultimately, you're going to get hurt. Instead of that, after a couple of occurrences of this, if you do the same thing and say, hey boss, can we have a quick chat over a cup of coffee, and say, hey, again, I statement, right? The application of the I statement to talk it out. Hey, can we have a chat about this? So I have observed that you deputed so and so for this meeting a couple of times. Also, these last 2 or 3 tasks, this task, which were very interesting. I saw that you gave those to this person every time. I'm getting frustrated. I statement and emotional expression. So I tell them how I feel. I'm getting a little bit upset and frustrated because I get the feeling that you don't have confidence in me. So can you tell me how we can fix this, and what do I need to do to be in that position where you have confidence in me and I get these assignments and I also get deputed for your meeting. Your boss will then either tell you what is wrong so you can fix it, or they will say, oh, I didn't realize it, I will fix it right away. So talking it out fixes it, acting it out makes it worse. So try this out, identify situations where you feel like that, and decide to talk it out using the I statement. I am going to put the link of that particular episode in the description, so you can look at that. It talks about how the structure of the I statement, how it works, why it works, the kinds of situations you can use it in. But all the very best to you. Start talking it out rather than acting it out. See you again on the next episode of Career Magic.